The Trump administration has been plagued by a spate of firings and resignations of late. Reince Priebus was replaced with John Kelly. Anthony Scarra was fired before you could say Moochie. Sebastian Gorka just left saying that the administration had lost its way. And of course, Steve Bannon moved on to his new job, assembling an army of orcs in order to seize the ring and rule Middle-earth. Now, in the latest development from a chaotic White House, Donald Trump himself has quit the Trump administration. Trump left an angry resignation letter to himself in which he told himself that he is no longer the Donald Trump swore to serve when he was elected, and that he can't continue to be part of a Donald Trump administration that has separated itself from the Donald Trump agenda, and he should know because he is Donald Trump. According to anonymous made-up sources at the New York Times, a former newspaper, the trouble began after Trump made a speech on Afghanistan at Fort Myers that was well received by the press. The next day, however, Trump went to Phoenix, where he let fly with a barn burner calling the press out for their dishonesty and bias. Fort Myers Trump then tweeted that Phoenix Trump had undermined Trump's good reviews by alienating the press just when they were being nice to Trump, whereupon Phoenix Trump angrily tweeted back that Fort Myers Trump had sold out to the elite, globalist, Chardonnay-sipping conservatives represented by his daughter Ivanka. Trump's slur against Trump's daughter infuriated Trump, who tweeted back that Trump was a loser, whereupon Trump responded by giving himself the nickname Lion Trump and then struck back with a tweet saying that Trump's ratings on The Apprentice were never really as good as he said they were. Trump called this personal attack on himself rude, which Trump replied was just sad, after which sources within the White House told the Times that Trump stopped talking to himself. Although whether that was out of anger or because of new medication, no one was really sure. Rumors have swirled within the administration that it was Chief of Staff John Kelly who forced Trump out because he didn't want Trump to have undue influence on himself or start feeding himself conspiracy theories from InfoWars or recipes from MarthaStewart.com. Others within the administration maintain that the rumors of a feud are fake news, ginned up by a biased press, and that in fact Trump left the administration on good terms with himself. One thing everyone agrees on, however, is that with Trump gone, the Trump administration will finally rise above the chaos that has dogged its first months and really get down to the business of carrying out Trump's agenda, which they'll proceed to do just as soon as Ivanka tells them what it is. Trigger warning, I'm Andrew Klavan, and this is The Andrew Klavan Show.
I feel hunky-dunky, life is tickety-boo. Birds are winging, also singing hunky-dunky-doo. Ship-shape, tipsy-topsy, the world is zippity-zing. It's a wonderful day, hurrah, hooray! It makes me want to sing. Oh, hurrah, hooray! Oh, hooray, hurrah!
All right, Steven Crowder is with us today. You know him from Louder with Crowder and from the wanted posters in your local post office. You may be saying to yourself, that looks like you're sitting in Ben Shapiro's set, and the reason is there has been a coup. No, that's not the reason. The reason is that the air conditioning has broken down or is being replaced at the Daily Wire. We are in the valley where it is about 100 degrees, literally outside 100 degrees, about 110 degrees inside. So if in the middle of the show I should stop speaking or moving, it's because I've died. Don't worry about it. Just they'll come and clean me up later on. But we are going to push through. And what is it? Shapiro's set just stays naturally cool because he's such a frosty guy. I think that's what it is. He just radiates Shapiro's. That's it. It's that cold. The cold heart. It's the cold heart that chills the Ben Shapiro studios. Tomorrow is Mailbag Day. Yes, it's Mailbag Day. That means you can ask any question you want, personal, religious, political, anything you want. We will answer that question, solve all your problems, answers guaranteed, 100% correct, and will change your life on occasion for the better, but you got to subscribe. You have to be a subscriber. It's a lousy $10 a month. Then we can solve all the problems of your life. And seriously, you press a button on the podcast page, right? On the podcast page, it shows you, press the button, send in your questions. Seriously, we have gotten very good results with our questions, and if you subscribe for a year, it's only a lousy $100 a month. Plus, you get the Leftist Tears tumbler. The best thing about this tumbler, besides the Leftist Tears inside it, is it's not Steven Crowder's crummy little mug that he had made in the mines of Mordor by dwarves or something like that. Anyway, that is what you want to do with that. What I am doing, personally, for my birthday, you didn't know this. You didn't get me this. You didn't get me anything for my birthday, actually.
I run your show.
I'm supposed to be thankful. I don't know. I got a piano. I got a keyboard for my birthday. Do I know? You may ask, do I know how to play a keyboard? No, is the answer, but I'm going to learn. But I do not have time to go out to some guy and get a lesson, so I'm going to try to do it online, and that's why there is Skillshare. Skillshare is this wonderful site where people can go. It's for professionals who are looking to get a leg up if you want to learn a new skill, but it's also for people who just are into learning new things, like me. I mean, people who just want to move on and keep your mind moving, because if you stop learning, you stop living. Skillshare, it's an online learning community with over 15,000 classes in things like design, business, logo design, social media marketing, street photography, and there's unlimited access to all of this for a low monthly price. You never have to pay per class again. So it's not like, I always hate this on apps when you get involved in them and suddenly they stop and say, oh yeah, you can have an in-app, you can buy more. You don't have to do that. It's one price. It's got all kinds of things: design, photography, marketing, entrepreneurship. So if you're trying to move up in your job or just expand what you do, Skillshare is giving my listeners a month of unlimited access absolutely free. You go to www.skillshare.com/Andrew. Let me give you that again, www.skillshare.com/Andrew. You can redeem your free month, test out the videos I did, and they really are useful, taught by people who know what they're doing. And like I said, you can watch the entire thing for one price. So we're complaining about the heat here, but of course things are really going bad in Houston. We're praying for them. We love them. Texas is not just like a great state. They always say the great state. Any state that gets hit by a disaster, we say it's a great state. But Texas is a special state because, it has been the representative of all things American during this transitionary period of time when all things American have been under attack. The Obama administration, where he spent all that time apologizing for America, wrong-footing America, saying America was to blame for things, Texas stood tall. And Texas, all the good stuff that happened in the Obama economy, the lowering of unemployment and all that, it was all generated in Texas because Texas didn't do what Obama wanted to do. They didn't follow his policies, and so they keep creating jobs. It's a wonderful place to live. We're so sorry that Houston is struggling. Everything the media does with this, you can watch them looking for a way to blame Trump. How do we blame Trump for this? If he says he's going down there now. I think while we're talking, he is on his way to Corpus Christi. He doesn't want to go to Houston because he doesn't want to divert resources to take care of the president while they need him for the disaster relief. But, it's like, is he going to Katie Tour on MSNBC? Is he going too soon? Remember when Bush didn't go because he didn't want to divert resources? It was like, he doesn't care. Bush doesn't care about black people. So it's whatever they can do, looking for some way to blame. It's climate change. It's all this stuff. They're looking for all these ways to blame things. My least favorite narrative, and I mentioned this yesterday, but it's worth talking about again, is this one where they say it takes a catastrophe to bring us together. See, that's crap. These people who are out there rescuing each other, who are carrying each other to safety, like we keep saying, people of all races, colors and creeds, are out there helping people of all races, colors and creeds. These people weren't enemies yesterday. It's not a disaster that brought them together. It's only a disaster that put them on the news. It's only a disaster that put them on the news because the news is always about the people who are screaming the loudest, especially if they're screaming leftist stuff, and especially if they're, accusing people of racism and all this stuff that really isn't as big a problem off the news as it is on the news. So it's really not that the catastrophe brought people together. It's that the catastrophe put the people as they are, as they so always are, really, as they often are, on the news. And that is really the difference. Meanwhile, what really is interesting, Trump gave a press conference yesterday because he was with the Finnish president, the president of Finland. And of course, Finnish, by the way, is the most complicated language on earth, I think. So I'm not sure anybody knew what the president of Finland was saying, but really, who cares? So Trump gave a press conference, and it was a fascinating press conference because it shows you that so much of what Trump does is calculated, and he is at war with this press that is at war with him. We always talk about how the press is at war with Trump and how they're trying to pull all this stuff on him. But let me just show you a couple of things that I just thought went past people. They cited them. They cited the sound bites, but they didn't talk about what they really were. You know, Trump pardoned Sheriff Joe Arpaio, which of course is just another proof to the left of what a racist guy he was. And like I said, I don't like Joe Arpaio, but he pardoned him because he's a symbol of strong borders, which Trump supports, and of and law and order, because leaving open borders is anti the rule of law. So one of the reporters, I think it was John Roberts from Fox, asked him about this, and I want to just look at the, it's number one. He asked him about the timing during the hurricane. This is cut one.
In the middle of Hurricane Harvey hitting on Friday night, you chose to pardon former Sheriff Joe Arpaio. I wonder if you could tell us what was behind your thinking for issuing a pardon for the sheriff, and as well, what do you say to your critics, even some in your own party, who say it was the wrong thing to do?
Well, a lot of people think it was the right thing to do, John. And actually, in the middle of a hurricane, even though it was a Friday evening, I assumed the ratings would be far higher than they would be normally. You know, the hurricane was just starting.
So he's telling you he wanted the ratings to be higher, okay? Now listen to Dana Bash, who is Hillary Clinton's surrogate and a reporter for CNN for some reason. I'm not sure. I didn't know you could do both those jobs. But Dana Bash is basically just a Democrat. Well, they all are. The whole CNN team are just Democrat operatives with press cards, as Glenn Reynolds at Instapundit always says. And here she is reacting to that cut and spinning it for the worst possible interpretation. Listen to this.
He had just come from a rally where the president was just talking about it in Jeff's report, where he got a lot of praise for it. But he was preaching to the choir there. I mean, these were the people who were kind of keeping Joe Arpaio afloat as kind of an iconic figure in that community, whereas in most other communities, many other communities, he was vilified and even, found to be doing things that are absolutely illegal.
To make an obvious point, the people at the rally, their homes aren't underwater.
Well, okay,
their homes aren't underwater
and that goes to my next point, which is, even if he is tongue-in-cheek, which I don't think he was, the notion of the President of the United States saying that he announced something because ratings were high, where people were fleeing their homes, underwater, and some people losing their lives, is abhorrent.
So the Hillary Clinton surrogate, Dana Bash, tells us that it was abhorrent. Now listen to what she did. I mean, listen to what she did. Trump said, I was surprised that the ratings weren't that good. So she immediately says, oh, well, first of all, he's encouraged to pardon Arpaio because of the people at his Phoenix rally. They were all white, which A, wasn't true, and B, is just her interpretation. That's what she sees. That's what racists see. The racists see the color of people's skin. They don't see, that these were people who like Trump and they have reason to like Trump. No clue. Just all white. It's all about white. That's all it is. Then the worst thing is people are desperate and he's just trying to get ratings. That's not what was going on there at all. What Trump was saying to them is, I don't buy into your narrative. And this is why people love him. This is why people love him. It's not that he fights back against the narrative. It's that he is stomping on the narrative like Godzilla on Tokyo. That is why people love Trump. It's because they have ensnared the GOP in this web of narrative where we see why are the Republicans in the majority so spineless? Why are they so divided? Why are they so afraid? Why do they abandon the president at the drop of a hat? It's because they're scared of Dana Bash. It's because they're scared of what the New York Times will say to them. This has always been the hit on Republicans, that they sit around and they tell their base, oh yeah, the New York Times, terrible New York Times, but all they want is a pat on the head from the New York Times, like John McCain playing to this. All they want to do is pick up their copy of the Times in the morning and see it. And Trump is telling them, nope, we are living by a different narrative. When he talked about Sheriff Joe Arpaio, the way he talked about him, he was telling them exactly what his narrative was and what their narrative was. This is cut number 3.
Sheriff Joe is a patriot. Sheriff Joe loves our country. Sheriff Joe protected our borders, and Sheriff Joe was very unfairly treated by the Obama administration, especially right before an election that he would have won. So, and he was elected many times. So I stand by my pardon of Sheriff Joe, and I think the people of Arizona who really know him best would agree with me.
So Trump is playing cards with these guys. He is playing poker with the press, playing chicken with the press. And what the press is constantly saying is, oh, yeah, but we're winning because his popularity is dropping. But Newt Gingrich wrote this piece, What the Elite Media Won't Tell You About Approval Ratings. And he said, according to the elite media, President Trump is a negative, dangerous, unpredictable leader who's getting more and more unpopular. The most recent average of polls has Trump at 39% approval. One news analyst wrote that Trump is turning us from a 50-50 country to a 60-40 country, with the new majority consolidating against the president. And this is part of the narrative. He's destroying the Republican Party because he's not following our narrative. Our narrative is the truth. Our narrative is this is a racist country. If you don't come out and say that it's a racist country, if you don't stand up against the Nazis more than against the antifa fascists, then you too are part of the racism. All these people are white, as Dana Bash says. They're all white. They're all white. That's their sin. But as Newt Gingrich goes on, in their eagerness to declare the Trump presidency a failure, the elite media is failing to inform us of two things. First, President Reagan had a similar period during his first term when his approval rating fell to 35%, and he carried 49 states in the next landslide re-election and went on to oversee an economic boom and change world history by pushing the Soviet Union into collapse. So history tells us that presidential approval ratings at this point are not indicative of a president's future success. And second, Gingrich goes on, in addition to failing to contextualize President Trump's approval ratings in history, the elite media is ignoring the present, where Emmanuel Macron in France, all these other leaders, they love Macron. He was at 64% when he took office. Now he's at 36% below Trump. They can't explain it, so they don't try to. And it's not just Macron. British Prime Minister Theresa May earned a 34% satisfaction rate. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe had a July approval rate of 34.2%. The Democratic Party in the United States received 38% approval in June. And you know who agrees with this? Michael Moore. Michael Moore was correct. He predicted that Donald Trump was going to win the presidency. He did it in that bitter, angry way that just sells his point of view so well to all of us. And he says now that he thinks that Trump will do it again. He said, what did he say? He said, he's not going to be reelected. He's going to be reappointed because we will have an even larger population that will vote against him in 2020, but he will win the same electoral votes from the states as they stand now. And we're going to take a closer look at all this with Steven Crowder. But in order to take a closer look, we have to be able to see. You can't see if your eyesight is no good. You know, I used to wear contact lenses, and I stopped because they were just too expensive and too annoying to constantly have to run out and get new ones. You know, you have your glasses, at least you know where they are. You pay for them once, you don't have to keep paying for them. And the reason for that is that about 97% of the contact lens market was controlled by just 4 people until now, because now there is Hubble, and you can get a fresh pair of lenses from Hubble every single day for much less. 60 contacts for $30, which is just $1 a day, which is half the price of the other brands. So you go to HubbleContacts.com and you can get your first 2 weeks free. Now, I tried them before. Last time when I was talking about Hubble, I hadn't tried them before because they hadn't sent me them. I put them on. These are incredibly good quality contacts, as good as anything you're going to get at the store, but they cost about half as much. So go to HubbleContacts.com. You get your first 2 weeks of lenses for free. 15 pairs of lenses for free. It's a deal you cannot beat. Hubble is offering my listeners 2 weeks of free contacts. Go to HubbleContacts.com. Get 20/20 vision for half the price. Is that 10/10 vision? No, it's half the price. You still get the 20/20 vision, but it's half the price. It's HUBBLE contacts.com. They really are good. I tested them out. They are as comfortable as you can get. So we got to say goodbye to Facebook and YouTube because you don't subscribe. But you can come over to thedailywire.com and listen. If you subscribe for a lousy $10 a month, you can watch the whole thing right on the site. If you subscribe for the year for $100, you get the Leftist Tears tumbler, which, most importantly, will replace your Steven Crowder mug. Steven Crowder is on the way. Have we got Crowder? Yep. All right, he's coming on right after this.